Welcome back to the Sacred Light Collective. You are with Ali, and I am delighted to have you here for another episode. Today, I have been trying to record an episode over a theme that landed a few days ago. And I've tried 6 times, and every time I find myself tripping over my words and the story not coming through in the way that I wanted to share. And so I just took a moment and I just said, okay, this maybe isn't the time to bring this episode to life. And what else is here? What do you want me to bring through? Or what do I need to bring through before I can bring through the episode that originally was calling for me to share? And I felt an immediate calm and peace come over me, and the recognition of it's okay not to force something. It's okay not to push for something, and to let my mind know it's okay that even though we sat down to actually record something connected to Lemuria, and that there's some really strong guidance coming through for me to do that, that perhaps this isn't the time, perhaps this isn't the day, perhaps this isn't the week for this episode to come to life. And my whole body, everything just relaxed. And it reminded me of how important it is to be with the flow, to allow the flow. And where there's resistance or something doesn't feel like it wants to flow, to just let it be. And I've been talking about that over the last few episodes, or really through the life of this podcast so far. And I find that really interesting that there is an opportunity for me here to just let go and just to just share this and be with what this message is, to not let my mind control what I think needs to be shared or what I had set myself on sharing, and understanding that this is going to work a little outside of my mind. And as I prefaced with you all at the start of this series, and if you haven't listened to episode 1, I highly recommend you go and listen to that this is really a journey, or sharing my journey and sharing what is here for me, and in the realness of all of that. And this isn't curated at all. And I think that it's the moments that I try to curate that. It's when I hear that I need to make this sound a certain way, or it needs to be a certain way, that suddenly it becomes less easeful. It doesn't want to flow. There's resistance. Tripping over my words, or just not articulating in the way that I feel the message or the energy or the guidance coming through. And so I wanted to speak into that because I feel like that's something that we're faced with in life a lot. A sense of wanting to achieve something, or to tick something off a list, or to present something in a way to mark off a goal, to really achieve more than to be. And I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with trying to achieve, or wanting to achieve, or having ambition or goals, because I think that is super powerful. But it's finding the balance of that. It's finding the balance of the flow, and the understanding that, using this example of me wanting to show up every week on the podcast, me wanting to show up with something that is going to be super resourceful, that is going to be interesting, that's going to be impactful, that is going to help somebody, or touch somebody, or inspire somebody. But there are some weeks where I don't know what that is. I don't know how to make that happen. And in the old adage of trying to control something, we grip onto it so tightly that we almost squeeze the life out of it. That tends to be what happens. The more you're chasing something, the further it seems to get away from you. It probably means that there's something that you're missing. To slow down, to pause, to be, to look at what else is around you, to look what else is here. And to come back to me in this moment, I had direct guidance about sharing messaging around Lemuria. And I thought that that was meant to be in this episode. But as I started to record, as I said, like 6 times, it didn't want to come through. And the moment I let go of that is the moment I felt that inner peace and relief. I was like, okay, well, let's talk into what's here. And I trust that whoever needs to receive this, to hear this, to feel this, will do so. And that when the time is right, the words will flow for me to share the messaging, the awakening to and remembrance of Lemuria that I felt guided to also bring through. And so I want you to take a moment to connect to something in life for you at the moment that feels like there's resistance, that it's not flowing easily, or you feel like you're having to do something 10 times over. And not looking at it from a perfectionist point of view or a judgmental point of view. Let's just look with curiosity at a place. It could be a relationship, it could be a goal, it could be a task. And where can you, just in this moment, allow yourself to let go of it a little? Where can you just hold it in your hand? Just hold it and see it from a slightly higher perspective. And just look at it with curiosity. Look at what else might be around that. Is there something that you're missing? Is there another way that you could be doing this? Is there something that your intuition or your gut is saying to you, hey, we need to just step away from this? Or maybe we need to look to the right instead of the left. And maybe we need to make the call that, much like I did, it's not for today. It's not for now. And I know that a couple of episodes ago, I spoke into this with perhaps a little bit more detail, and my mind wants to say to me, but you're saying the same thing again. But this is something that we all need reminders of. We all need to give ourselves permission to look for the ease, look for the flow, and know that it's okay if we are feeling to hit the pause button. It might not be the stop button completely. It might just be the pause, like me pausing on that podcast episode for another time. And let that create some space. Let yourself feel into that. Weaving this idea into the timing of things, the deadline that we're setting ourselves or that we're trying to achieve doesn't really have an impact on where we are going. That is the mind saying we need to do this by this time or achieve this by this age. And in the cases where maybe there is an actual deadline, you'd be surprised at how much when you take your foot off the accelerator and you just sit, pause, find the place of stillness, you create that space to receive the guidance, to receive the ideas and the inspiration. You receive whether I actually need to go and ask to extend that deadline, or I need to push that deadline back, or I need to change what I set out to do. Well, this doesn't actually feel as though it's what wants to be moving through me right now. Because maybe you started at a point and you're now at a different point, and it doesn't necessarily feel true for you or what wants to be birthed or created through you. Let yourself sit with that for a moment. Feel into your heart. What really is true for you right now? What can you let go of or pause? What do you need to put on the shelf for a while and lovingly detach from? Where can you come back in connection to your heart and to your body to find what is true for you and here for you in this very moment? And notice how your body's feeling as you're receiving this, as you're pondering this, as you're holding maybe one or more things in the palms of your hand and just being really curious, looking at the higher perspective of these situations, experiences, relationships, goals, whatever it might be. Maybe you want to write something down. Maybe you want to pause and go and take some action. Maybe what you're seeing is that you hadn't taken the right action for you. Letting it come to you, letting yourself sit and receive this, not pushing, not striving, not chasing, forcing, but coming back into your body, coming back into connection to your heart, to your higher self, allowing it to come to you. This is a powerful exercise, and you might want to come and do this several times. You might need to do this several times a day, and you might need to do it once a month. But when you find yourself in a space of resistance, or you're stuck, or you notice that you're trying to force something, to push something, to control something, come back, go within, connect to your heart, to your body. Take that higher perspective. You know, I like to use that analogy of holding it in your hand, just looking at it in your hand, feeling it, noticing it. Is it still feeling true for you? Is it still feeling that this is something that is what is aligned for you right now? Does this need to be tweaked? Does it need to be put to one side with love for another time? Does it need to be closed out? And have you missed something in your periphery that is actually more aligned with ease and flow? That is something that you hadn't had the perspective and awareness to be able to see. Personally, 9 times out of 10, for me, this is that I just need to pause and come back into connection with my heart, with my body, to connect into what is true there, what is wanting to be birthed, to be created, to be expressed, to then step in. And this is what it means to be leading yourself from your divine feminine energy, coming into receivership to be able to take that action, the aligned action, with ease and with flow through your inner divine masculine energy. It's taken me a long time to grasp this concept. And I'm really recognizing how much I needed this reminder in this moment. And now I understand why this wanted to be birthed, expressed through me before I shared what was really, really on my heart. Understanding the cycles of flow also means respecting and honoring yourself in periods of pause, in rest, in slowing down. And this is where time becomes irrelevant. Because if you allow yourself to move in this cycle and in this flow, you will actually create, express, you will find the opportunities, things present themselves and are done in not just an easeful way, but an efficient way. And time expands. I mean, have you noticed when you're chasing a deadline or you're chasing a time frame, the time seems to slip away? You know, you're focused on the time, so of course it goes more quickly. So letting go of even the concept of time being an important part of this equation and just allowing it to speak from within, to speak through you, to be moved through you. And recognizing when things aren't happening, when things are slowing down in life, in business, career, professional, that it's okay. That you're in the cycle of the pause and to be and to just allow yourself to connect to your heart, to your body, and keep listening, keep taking the action based on what you receive. And that might be no action. And I know that that is challenging because 90% of my clients came from that place that I came from, of being driven by their hyper masculine energy, driven by the need to control, driven by that need to feel safe, to do all the things, to be all the things, to achieve all of the things. But pushing from a burnt out, stressed place. So this is your reminder. Maybe this is planting a seed because this is a new concept for you and you're feeling resistance at my very words, at the very frequency that is being shared. And that is okay. Again, receive it, let it be. Receive and let it be. You might come back to this episode and listen again at a time when it feels a little easier for you to receive. Again, listen to your heart, listen to your body. Be guided from within. I feel to just share a short light language activation, transmission from our collective divine feminine energies. Feeling the softness as the divine feminine energy, your divine and feminine energy, softly comes to life around you, softly moving through the crown of your head, flowing through that left side of the body and gently coming up the right side of the body, creating a flow clockwise around the body. So coming down through the crown of the head, down the left side and up through the right side. Open your hearts, dear one, open your hearts. Creating a flow, the infinity shape through the heart. Feeling and receiving the softness, the ease as this flows around the body in a clockwise direction and coming through that infinity on the figure of 8 on the side, horizontal across the heart space, weaving the energy of flow, receivership, ease. Naru himatishe doshum bakirati naya nirokushum derajigero tia. I'm feeling this energy speaking into pause, calling us to pause in this moment, in receivership, to be just in presence with ourselves right now. You might even feel yourself rocking slowly. I have this image of sitting in a small boat, a rowboat, like a cradle, and the waves are just gently rocking us side to side, lulling us into peacefulness, softness, gentleness. It's very soothing and nurturing, just allowing yourself to go, even just rocking your body side to side and receiving. I would invite you to stay with this image, with this feeling, for as long as you need. Maybe even coming back to this in moments where you're feeling frustration and resistance, force, control, and allow this to guide you into union with your divine feminine energies, the energies of flow, of gentleness, of ease. Nairo Yeshametikira Shkuturujumuhatakaya. Mahero Kishamantakira Ushumotakira Shukotitramaisakietokun. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. The light, the love, the divinity within me honors the light, the love, the divinity within you. Namaste.